Hey guys, we've been talking about sometimes in our Legends newsletters. If you're interested in Legends newsletters, hit our website, extremeselfprotection.com, all one word, and about the differences between doing a double wrist lock and a Kimura. And we know basically they look the same, and it's just not a change, but we're going to make sure we understand they look the same, and so some people have a mistaken impression that they are the exact same thing. Au contraire. And now this actual double wrist lock, if you're going to really set it up for catches, you want to be actually on the hand so we can get some really nice wrist twist and wrist flexion, but we realize for competition, getting that hand and the gloves out of the question, so there are some adjustments to be made, and that doesn't mean whenever we come off the hand, we're right back into being standard Kimura territory. New, because on the Kimura, you'll see often what's happening here is there's going to be this step over the top. I got to show Dan some inseam to prevent him from rising up with me, but that's completely opposite of how you're going to be approaching it from a wrestling point of view. Not to say, yeah, you can get the tap out of the Kimura. I'm not saying that anyone who's doing this is wrong. I'm just saying it's just opposite of the way we want to set this up. Last thing I want is Dan's shoulder to come up. And I don't prevent Dan's shoulder from coming up by trying to step over his face and put my cup in his face trying to get him to come up. I want Dan's shoulder to stay down there because I'm aware of how the actual anatomy of breaking this arm has to be. I just really want to think about putting his thumb in his armpit and what we call violating his anatomy. Take a look at a raw called the double wrist lock master class. You're going to have like 25 different ways to set this thing up. Some of these are hands-free setups, but it has to do with Dan's elbow traveling on the mat, me not doing a drag, and him putting his thumb in his armpit, and the whole time this shoulder would not have to do any rise. So as opposed to me doing a drag like in a paintbrush position, we would see Dan's shoulder comes off the mat, and a step over is necessary. But if I'm thinking about leaving Dan flat on the mat the whole time, just putting his thumb in the mat, tell you what, Dan, you got a hand ready to tap over there?
Yes,
Can you put it on top of my back for me so that they can see that? All right, we'll see if I'm doing the standard drag position. Dan has to rise, and I'm going to have to move to a step over. But I told him to put his hand in blocking position, which stops me up. I just stay flat on him and think about thumb to the armpit. We're there. Now, there's a few more subtleties to it than that, but again, take a look at that raw volume we're talking about. The last thing in the world we want to do is do anything where we try and pick a guy up, and then we fight ourselves by stepping over to put him back down. It just doesn't make any sense to me to fight with yourself and pick him up, leave him in the same spot. Leave him down there. That's what you fought for, to pin him down and then break something.